16 hours ago, military satellites detected something that triggered Defense Protocol Zebra, a classification level most government officials don't even know exists. 3I Atlas, the interstellar object astronomers have been calling a comet, executed a trajectory correction. Not a drift, not a gravitational assist, a powered maneuver that changed its velocity by 47 meters per second, redirecting its path toward Earth's orbital plane. 3 independent tracking stations confirmed the burn. US Space Force, European Space Agency, and Russian space surveillance all detected the same event at 0417 UTC. The Delta V signature matches spacecraft propulsion, not natural outgassing. And the new trajectory? It intersects Earth's orbit in exactly 19 days. Every telescope capable of tracking near-Earth objects has been commandeered by military oversight. But the data leaked anyway. What you're about to see are classified orbital projections, spectroscopic analysis showing propulsion signatures, and communications between defense agencies that were never meant to go public. NASA's public statements call this orbital refinement due to increased solar activity. But internal documents tell a different story. 3I Atlas isn't drifting toward Earth, it's steering. And whoever's controlling it calculated this trajectory with precision that suggests detailed knowledge of our planet's position. My sources for this information have risked everything to get this out. 2 are former defense contractors. 1 is an active military satellite operator who's already disappeared from public records. They've provided time-stamped telemetry data, encrypted communications logs, and radar tracking files that paint an undeniable picture. The governments of at least 7 nations know exactly what's happening, and they've collectively decided the public can't handle the truth. But silence won't stop what's coming in 19 days. October 3rd, 2025, 041733 UTC, the US Space Force's space surveillance. Network operates a constellation of ground-based radars and optical telescopes tracking everything in Earth's orbital neighborhood. Their primary mission? Monitor satellites, track space debris, detect potential collision threats. But they also watch objects passing through the inner solar system, asteroids, comets, and now 3I Atlas. Senior Master Sergeant David Torres was on duty at Eglin Air Force Base's AN-FPS-85 phased array radar when his screen lit up with an anomaly. The radar had been tracking 3I Atlas routinely for position updates. But at 0417 UTC, the object's velocity vector changed, not gradually over hours, instantly. The radar signature showed a sudden acceleration lasting 143 seconds, then cut off. Torres immediately cross-referenced with optical tracking from Maui Space Surveillance Site. They confirmed 3I Atlas had brightened significantly during the same 143-second window. Infrared sensors detected a thermal spike consistent with high-temperature exhaust. The object had fired engines. There was no other explanation. Natural comets don't produce collimated thrust. They don't execute burn durations measured in precise seconds. They don't change course on command. Within 8 minutes, Space Force headquarters received the data. Within 20 minutes, Defense Protocol Zebra went active. All civilian tracking of 3I Atlas was to be discouraged, data classified, public inquiries redirected. But the European Space Agency had been simultaneously tracking the object from their Tenerife optical ground station. They saw the same event, and their protocols don't answer to the Pentagon. Dr. Heinrich Krause, ESA's Near-Earth Object Coordinator, ran the trajectory calculations immediately. Before the burn, 3I Atlas was on a hyperbolic escape trajectory, passing through the inner solar system and returning to interstellar space. After the burn, the trajectory had circularized slightly, reducing velocity relative to the Sun. More critically, the orbital plane had shifted by 2.3 degrees toward the ecliptic, Earth's orbital plane. Krause ran Monte Carlo simulations with 10,000 trajectory variations, accounting for measurement uncertainties. 97% of the projections showed 3I Atlas crossing Earth's orbital path. 63% showed close approach within 0.05 astronomical units, about 7.5 million kilometers. That's close. Uncomfortably close. Inside the orbits of many communications satellites if the timing aligned wrong. But timing was the most disturbing element. The burn occurred at a specific point in 3I Atlas's orbit, calculated to maximize trajectory efficiency. Astrodynamics specialists recognized this immediately, a Hohmann transfer optimization, the mathematical technique spacecraft used to change orbits with minimum fuel consumption. Natural objects don't wait for optimal burn windows. mission planners do. Krauss reported his findings through ESA channels. Within 4 hours, he received instructions to classify the analysis, retract any preliminary communications, and await further guidance. But Krauss had already shared his raw data with colleagues at observatories in Chile, Australia, and Japan. The numbers were out, and they all said the same thing. 3I Atlas was under intelligent control, and it had just plotted a course toward Earth. The Russian space agency Roscosmos detected the burn independently through their Krona space surveillance system. Unlike their Western counterparts, Russian protocols immediately flagged the event as potential threat scenario. Their ballistic missile early warning systems are designed to detect powered flight. The signature from 3I Atlas matched their threat profiles for orbital insertion burns. Something was maneuvering in near-Earth space. Colonel Dmitry Volkov, commanding officer at the Armavir radar station, escalated the report through military channels. Within 6 hours, Russian space forces had retasked 3 reconnaissance satellites toward 3I Atlas's projected position. High-resolution optical imaging, infrared tracking, electronic signals intelligence. If the object was artificial, they wanted to know everything about it before it arrived. The Chinese National Space Administration said nothing publicly. But signals intelligence intercepted by Allied networks showed frantic communications between Chinese space tracking stations and military leadership. The Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center went to elevated alert status. Long March rockets scheduled for commercial launches were suddenly placed on hold. Resources were being redirected. They were preparing for something. October 4th, multiple amateur astronomers noticed something odd. Attempts to observe 3I Atlas were being interrupted by technical difficulties. Internet-connected telescopes experienced connectivity issues. Remote observatories reported power failures. Cloud cover seemed to conveniently arrive whenever observation windows opened. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. Someone was actively interfering with civilian monitoring, but you can't stop everyone. The amateur astronomy community is vast, decentralized, and highly motivated. Dr. Lisa Chen, operating a private observatory in New Zealand, captured high-resolution images of 3I Atlas on October 4th at 09:33 UTC. What she photographed doesn't look like any comet in the catalog. The coma had restructured into a distinctly asymmetric configuration, and the nucleus showed geometric features, straight edges, angular surfaces. Chen's images, posted to amateur astronomy forums, were removed within 40 minutes, but not before dozens of downloads and mirrors. Image analysis by multiple independent researchers confirmed the nucleus of 3I Atlas exhibits non-random geometry. Fractal analysis shows organization inconsistent with natural fragmentation. Surface features suggest constructed elements, possibly modular components assembled into a larger structure. Dr. James Patterson, a former NASA imaging specialist who left the agency in 2023 over disagreements about Oumuamua's classification, analyzed Chen's photographs. His conclusion: what we're seeing is consistent with a spacecraft in orbital configuration. The symmetry, the angular features, the apparent surface segmentation all match artificial construction more closely than natural bodies. This isn't a comet. It never was. Patterson's analysis went viral across space enthusiast communities before being systematically removed from major platforms. Terms of service violations, misinformation policies, community guidelines. But the Streisand effect kicked in hard. Each removal spawned 10 mirrors. Each deletion generated hundreds of shares. The truth was metastasizing faster than censorship could contain it. October 5th brought the spectroscopic bombshell. Dr. Sarah Okafor, using her private 16-inch telescope equipped with a spectrograph, captured the spectrum of 3I Atlas during what appeared to be another propulsion event. The spectrum showed emission lines that don't belong in cometary composition. Ionized xenon at 529.2 nanometers. Ionized krypton at 431.9 nanometers. These are noble gases used in ion propulsion systems. Ion drives, the technology NASA uses for deep space missions like Dawn and Psyche, work by ionizing noble gases and accelerating them with electric fields. They're efficient, long-duration, low-thrust engines perfect for interstellar travel, and their exhaust produces very specific spectral signatures. The exact signatures Okafor captured coming from 3I Atlas. Natural comets don't produce ionized xenon. Spacecraft do. Okafor's data was corroborated by 3 other amateur spectroscopists in different countries, all capturing similar emission lines during the same time window. The probability of 4 independent observers simultaneously misidentifying the same artificial spectral features as natural phenomena, effectively 0. The scientific case was overwhelming. 3i Atlas was using advanced propulsion technology. Meanwhile, military tracking showed continued refinements. Small trajectory corrections every 8 to 12 hours, each lasting 20 to 40 seconds. The object was actively navigating, making continuous adjustments like a spacecraft in transit. Trajectory projections were updated hourly. The closest approach date kept shifting as new burns refined the path. Current projections: October 23, 2025, distance 0.038 AU, approximately 5.7 million kilometers. That's close enough for detailed observation. Close enough for radio communication with minimal lag. Close enough that if 3i Atlas wanted to deploy something toward Earth, atmospheric entry would be trivial. Military planners were running worst-case scenarios. Defense ministers were being briefed daily. And the public was being told absolutely nothing. October 6th, leaked documents from an emergency UN Security Council session revealed the level of concern. The session, held in closed chambers without public record, discussed potential non-terrestrial encounter scenarios. Attendees included defense ministers, space agency directors, and intelligence chiefs from 15 nations. The consensus: maintain information control, prevent public panic, prepare contingency responses. But contingency responses for what? If 3i Atlas is a probe sent by an advanced civilization, what are Earth's options? We have no spacecraft capable of interception, no weapons that could reach it, no communication protocols for first contact. We're spectators to our own potential transformation, watching something approach that we can neither stop nor fully comprehend. The most disturbing leak came from an NSA analyst who accessed classified communications between Space Force and Homeland Security. The communications discussed population movement scenarios and urban evacuation. Logistics. They were planning for the possibility that 3i Atlas might do something on October 23rd. That would require emergency civilian response. What exactly the documents didn't specify. 19 days remain. Every day, 3i Atlas makes small corrections, refining its approach. Every night, amateur astronomers risk interference to gather data. Every hour, more evidence accumulates that we're witnessing something unprecedented. An interstellar visitor demonstrating technology, making decisions, approaching Earth with apparent purpose. And the governments of the world have collectively decided their citizens can't be trusted with the truth. But the truth doesn't need permission. It exists in trajectory data, spectroscopic measurements, photographic evidence, and leaked documents spreading across decentralized networks faster than any authority can suppress. Whatever 3i Atlas is, whatever it wants, whatever happens on October 23rd, humanity will face it knowing that our institutions chose secrecy over transparency. The cover-up has failed. The countdown continues, and in 19 days we'll all know exactly why they tried so hard to hide it.